Hello all of you lovely individuals, welcome back to another video for the day. We're going into r/entitled people, and unfortunately the entitledness ain't going away anytime soon, so you know we're here for the fun times, I know. But if you guys want to be amazing, you know what to do, but without a further ado, let go. A middle-aged Karen parked in the mother's parking spot and confronted me about how I'm not entitled to it. Okay, this happened yesterday at my local Loblaws. Most grocery stores here in Canada have a few expectant mothers parking spaces that are intended for pregnant women or parents with babies to use. They are generally close to the door, usually beside the handicapped spaces or the cart corral. I'm currently 7 months pregnant and was following a Lexus into the parking spot that I plan to use, one of these spaces, and the Lexus ahead of me took this space. I didn't think much of it and parked about 4 to 5 spaces down from it. As I'm walking into the store, the woman in the Lexus, who in their mid-60s, saw that I was visibly pregnant and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize," and laughed at me. I'm hormonal, and it probably wasn't necessary, but I responded with, "You're obviously not that sorry since you parked in a spot that you shouldn't have." She proceeded to get about a foot from me and scream at me, "Screw you, you're not entitled to this spot." I was caught off guard and started crying. Not proud of this, but the hormones are intense sometimes. Thankfully, bystanders don't like it when people yell and physically intimidate a pregnant lady, and about 5 people came over to rip her a new one, telling her that she is way out of line and I'm the only person they see who is entitled to that space. One gentleman, my hero, actually called her a Karen. She got back into her car and left. I just don't understand why she felt the need to confront me. Did she think apologizing for intentionally bad behavior made her look less like a Karen? Like, I wasn't going to say anything, I just assumed that she needed it because she had a baby or whatever, but she didn't. So that's my crazy Karen story, mild compared to most here, but it was honestly scary. Really, I didn't see you in the wrong whatsoever. Person got out of their car, laughed at you, and then pretty much sarcastically, you can guarantee, because, you know, lovely Karens and such, just knew for a fact that they were in the wrong, but then they got upset when you called them out for their douchebaggery. Like for myself, my local Ayers Teeter's got a veteran spot, and you don't see my dumb butt parking there unless I'm with my dad, because, yeah, I don't qualify as a veteran. And same thing goes for the people that park in the handicapped spots. Like, just because you think you're gonna be a couple of minutes does not entitle you to taking up a spot when somebody else very much is deserving of said spot. Like, oh, I don't know, a pregnant lady. Hopefully things are going well, and hopefully the Karen learned her lesson, although I know that sometimes they're a little difficult to get by, even though when 5 people are trying to nail it into her thick skull, that sometimes you're not supposed to go into parking spot that you're not allowed to go into. I don't care if you put on your I can park anywhere lights, you're not entitled to that just because you think you can put your hazards on it. Bottom line, world would be a better place if you just didn't do the douchey move. How to ruin your life. So, about 10 months ago, a guy goes down outside of a strip mall store, has a medical alert bracelet on about a heart condition, paramedics get called, and arrive quickly. Thank you, first responders. They showed up in a 4-door pickup with a bed shell, all fire engine red, flashing lights and sirens, fire department and paramedics all over the truck. They jump out and start hooking up the guy to blood pressure cuffs and sticking the heart monitor pads on him, etc. Karen rolls up beside the paramedic truck and starts screaming that the truck cut her off at the intersection with lights and sirens, and then she demands that the paramedics look at her as she melts down while he is starting CPR on the victim. The paramedic is ignoring her entirely, but has to get something from the truck. She blocks his way and gets moved aside as he goes to his truck. This is where Karen pulls out the pepper spray, hoses the standing paramedic directly in the face, but she's not done. She sprays the second paramedic on the ground, and just for the trifecta, hoses down the heart attack victim, screaming he is too young to have a heart attack. I took it as my cue to remove the pepper spray and hold onto her with others until police arrived. Still, others are trying to help with CPR while some try to wash out the eyes of the paramedics. The police arrive and the Karen goes immediately into handcuffs and then attempts to bite/kick police, which results in getting hogtied and her shirt pulled over her face, at which time she starts screaming the 4-letter word that rhymes with the word grape. And the kicker is when the police arrest her, she starts with
Do you know who I am?
Results are 2 counts of aggravated weaponry when paramedics, 2 counts of attacking on police officers, and 1 count of aggravated A with a weapon on the heart attack victim, which survived, resisting arrest with violence. She also is being sued by the heart attack victim for $10 million, which she apparently has. Her criminal trial is coming up, and I bought a new suit for it, as my old butt will be there with bells on. Since the entire event is on video with 2 cameras, and who knows how many cell phones, it will be interesting to see what her high-powered legal team is going to cook up, but ultimately I hope she will be convinced. Facing a possible 65 years in prison, but practically will only get about 10 maximum, if any, prison time. As a side note, her husband is a bank vice president and refused to make her bail. It took her 13 days to get her family to bail her out. I'll try to update when the trial happens. Fortunately, there was an update. The only update that I have is from a firefighter/EMT. She apparently made a large donation to the fire department, did rehab, and got off after successfully completing rehab. Some kind of trial diversion program. The poster that said she would blame it on a substance or alcohol cocktail was seemingly correct. Is that common? I've never heard of that before. But then again, I don't know many people who do stuff like this. Well, that just kind of makes me think that they should also hit her with a driving under the influence kind of thing too, because if they're saying that the fire department guys cut her off and then that's when she started getting belligerent, that's a whole nother charge on top of that, right? But also, seriously, how stupid do you have to be to get pissed at EMTs who have light sirens and are very much doing their job, and you get upset wanting to focus on you, but you're upset that the fact that they're not because they're doing their damn job? Not only that, you pepper sprayed the police, you pepper sprayed the fire department, you pepper sprayed the person having a damn heart attack? What the? My entitled nephew stole from me one too many times, and this time I got them arrested, and now my sister and brother-in-law have to deal with the fallout, and I don't really care anymore. In a prior post in a different subreddit, I asked if I was the bad guy for wanting to call police on my nephews for stealing from me, and the overwhelming support I got made me realize that standing my ground was the best thing for me to do. About midway last week, I came home from work and I noticed that my shed door was open and that the padlock that I used to keep it shut was broken, and I had a lot of bags full of soda cans in there. I and my friends tend to drink a lot of soda, so I built up a lot of cans over the course of about a year and was going to cash them in the bottle drop soon because I like big payouts. It's 10 cents a can where I live, after all. But there was more than just my bags of cans missing from the shed too. They took my gardening shears, a steel rake, 2 shovels, one of them being one of those folding clamping ones, and full 2 gallons of gas cans, a cheap power drill I got for like $5 used, and an electric hedge trimmer, and a small electric chainsaw that I was also used, and a machete. They didn't touch the lawnmower, weed whacker, extension cords, or the old radio that I had in there, and no idea why they took what they did, but I guess they figured they could resell them or something. I checked my camera footage, and there was my 3 nephews, ages 16, 15, and 14, breaking into my shed with one of their dad's large claw hammers. I recognized the hammer because of its bright yellow and black, and their dad had a bunch of them. It only took them a few hits to smash that cheap lock. After that, they broke into my shed. They took what they could by hand, and then they came back with some shopping carts that I'm guessing they also stole, but I also took them a few trips to get all of the cans, and they didn't bother to even try and close the door when they were done. My sister and brother-in-law first denied that their kids stole anything from me, so I went to their house and showed them the security footage from my cameras. I'd not told them that I had cameras installed, and the reason I had the cameras put in there was because of prior thefts by my nephews. It started with food and snacks, and then they moved to DVDs and video games, and then pretty much anything they thought they could smuggle out after that. And anytime I made them return the stuff they had stolen from me, I was treated like the bad guy and got the fakest of apologies that I've ever heard. And they never got in much trouble with their parents either. The final straw happened last year when my nephews broke into my house and stole 3 6-packs of my favorite blood orange beer from my fridge. They used my hidden spare key to get in, and also took a huge dump in one of the bathrooms, and not only didn't flush, but also peed all over the floor. And I'm pretty sure that it was intentional. The beer that they stole was hidden in one of those bedrooms when I confronted my sister and brother-in-law about the nephew stealing it, and I was basically given the equivalent of, boys will be boys, and I wanted them punished, so I had the cameras put in and told no one, which was a smart move. When my sister and brother-in-law saw the camera footage of my nephew stealing from me, they seemed furious, but they were actually madder that their boys skipped schools to steal from me. They spent all day making repeated trips to the bottle drop and cashing the cans by the machine. The bottle drop also pays by machine, so they just kept bringing the cans and then they cashed them all. And then they bought video games and junk food with the money. Said money actually amounted to nearly $200, and with that and the destroyed padlock, I told my sister and brother-in-law now that they owe me $200. My sister and brother-in-law went from being angry at their kids to making excuses for them, and then being angry at me for wanting that money back when I know that they have 3 kids and a mortgage. I said it was either that or I go to the police and press charges. They told me to get out, and I said that they have 2 days to decide how to pay me back before I go to the cops. I got back everything else that my nephews stole, machete and gas can included, though they had already used the gas for something. But over the next couple of days, my sister and brother-in-law were blowing up my phone with a ton of messages, both verbal and text. At first, they were calling me heartless because it was right after the holidays and they have 3 kids and a mortgage, but then they started gaslighting me and even threatening me. And all of this would go on in a repeating cycle. My nephews chimed in from another cell phone and were sending me lots of messages of their own, which were more fake apologies and gaslighting. My oldest nephew had even sent me pictures of himself holding a soda can and giving me the middle finger. So I guess they weren't taking my threats of going to the police seriously because family. When I last spoke to my sister and brother-in-law, they refused to negotiate any sort of method of repayment for what my nephews did, and even when I suggest they just sell video games that they had purchased with the money from the cans, then they had the audacity to say I'd actually tempted my nephews by having the cans in my shed to begin with. Oh yes, I'm the devil's snake that tempted the nephews with a shed full of cans that just screamed, money, money, money. So that was it. I went to the police station that morning and filed the report. Gave them a copy of the video footage of my nephews stealing from my shed. I gave them the broken lock that they smashed, showed them all of the texts, which were screenshotted, and also given as evidence. Heck, I even gave them a copy of the photo of my eldest nephew sent of me flipping me off. I did tell the police that I found it worrisome that my nephews had taken the machete, but they classified it as a tool, especially since they took a lot of the other actual tools. So fair enough on that, I suppose. But my nephews were indeed arrested on Saturday. Police came to their house, and my sister and brother-in-law were forced to let them in because they had a warrant. Apparently, all 3 of my nephews went from being cocky little dookies to crying like babies when they were being put in cuffs. I know this because a neighbor I'm acquainted with that's sort of friends with my sister was there to see it. And shortly after the arrest, my sister and brother-in-law were blowing up my phone again. They weren't able to get their kids out of jail till Monday morning, and now the boys are being charged with larceny, willful destruction of property, vandalism, and harassment. The police took this whole case pretty seriously, as there has been complaints about my nephews for some time, but nothing was proven until now. The past few months, bags of cans have actually been going missing all over the area, and don't know if it was my nephews or not, but they are the likely suspects. And with word spreading of their arrests, let's hope other neighbors with security cameras come forward with more footage. Don't you just love it when parents enable their kids to be able to do this and think that they're just, oh, it's not my baby, not my darling little angel. No, trust me, your kid can be a little shit just like all the other ones. One of the reasons I always absolutely detest bullying in school, because you know for a fact the parents are backing the little shits up. But yeah, no, had the kids been maybe 1 year, 2 years older, yeah, then they would have been charged as adults because they're damn near close enough. I gotta say, the smartest move was, in fact, setting up the security camera and not telling anybody about it because, yeah, if you don't tell anybody about it, you're gonna be able to catch them a lot easier because if they know that they're there, they'll take measures to avoid it. And, yeah, you don't tell them, they're gonna mess around and they're gonna find out. My sister called me demanding I take my post down, and now she's more upset than ever to know how far it's spread. Is she gonna be a little more upset after, yeah, I have a little bit of relevancy on the Reddits and YouTubes and stuff. Having a family knows about your Reddit account has its disadvantages. Yesterday, my sister called me after I got off of work to ask me if comments are still coming in. She said she cannot bear the negativity of looking at herself because of the comments are also hurtful towards her. So, I was brutally honest. At least 10 comments are still coming in daily, and most of them more or less say the same thing about her. She started crying and demanding I delete the Reddit post, but I refused and told her that she can cry to anyone she wants, but the post stays up because they are my assurance that she won't try to treat me like C anymore. After all, she literally felt like my life should revolve around hers and didn't pay me the babysitting money that she was supposed to and pocketed it for herself and forced me to be the constant babysitter on the last family's vacation, so I pretty much had no fun the entire time. Is it really any wonder that people are having so much hate for her when she treated me like that? Then, when I mentioned the posts have already spread to other websites because I asked a couple of times to let an article be made about my situation, and there are some videos that were read as well. Well, here's another one. My sister shrieked hearing that and hung up. My parents then called me begging I take the post down. I refused and stated that I only did this because they didn't stick up for me. This would have never happened if they had told my sister to treat me like an equal and not a servant. I'm not her butler, babysitter, or handyman. I'm her freaking brother. I'm a grown man. Wouldn't they be tired of this dude in my shoes too? They agreed, but still begged I take the post down. I refused and said that I'll keep making more if they don't start sticking up for me more when my sister comes crying to them. Let her clean up her own messes, because all of the enabling of her has led to this. I didn't father those kids. I've got a life of my own, a career I'm still new to, and hopefully soon enough a girlfriend, as there's someone I want to ask out. I'm moving my life forward, and I won't be held back. They can either step out of my way or keep trying to enable my sister, but I assured them that the latter would end badly for them. The only way this posting on Reddit will stop is if the drama stops. I have kept things anonymous, and I've got a right to vent my very valid frustrations. Well, that left my mother crying, my father was just silent, and I said tears don't move me. They know what it'll take to end this, and that's to stop enabling my sister. Well, my sister called me again to yell at me that our parents have told her that they aren't dealing with this anymore, and to figure it out herself. Oh, and they told her to be nicer to me too. I just pictured her eye twitching as she internally screamed after hearing that. Be nice to my kid brother. What is this? Do I look it up on Google? Yeah, I was that sarcastic to her, but it left her crying too when I hung up. My brother-in-law called me later to get my side of the story. He was mad that I'm still posting this and made his wife cry, but I explained everything to him, and he said he'd have another talk with my sister. I'm hoping this drama finally ends here, but the family vacation is still on for late June. I've already booked my room and put in for a day off work so we can all leave on Friday. My room is also not near the ones my parents, sister, brother-in-law, and nephews will be using. In fact, it's not even on the same floor, and when we go to the coast, when it's not a family activity, I'm going to go where I want and do what I want. And you can bet I'm gonna tour those art galleries, pick out on local food, and just enjoy being carefree for a change. Yeah, if you're in a family, you're supposed to be treated as equals. You're not supposed to be some damn servant or babysitter or anything. So yeah, hopefully you have a good time on your vacation. But with that, that is going to have to be with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you have not already, subscribe to to the channel and turn on the notifications. I hope you're liking these longer format videos, so I'd love to hear what you guys like. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.